Brilliant.
Look at the camera, they're ready to rumble.
I recommend it.
There's a battle between the sexes, right? There's males and females, and we're, instead of working together to create a better society, we're at each other's throats, like blaming one another.
Hello guys.
Welcome. Welcome to Brilliant Podcast with your hosts.
Harvey.
No, you're Maria.
I'm
You know, men have this privilege, women have this privilege, they've done this. I think we need to get beyond that.
We have to remember that we're here for other reasons.
We're here for each other as well. We're here together. We have to get along. You know, we don't have a choice. It's like we're not complete without the other.
Like I see a lot of women, but also men, they play in some kind of games, they look pretty, like beautiful in this extreme way, like physically and, you know, with makeup, hair and all these things that they lose in themselves, they lose in the core of, you know, come together with another person in a healing process, in a companionship, in partnership, because we are not only part of, oh, you have to do this because, you know, you have to provide, and the woman has to be the mother, or, you know, all these topics, situations start to appear, and we question a lot. And the women in the past, I think we get to their extremes in different way. Like women were close in the house and doing just a mother.
But women have always wanted to look good, right? Because you're attracting the male.
I don't know. For me, it's more like we want to look good because we want to feel good.
Yeah. But I think, like, we separate ourselves from animals, right? And, like, in the animal world, all the birds have very colourful feathers. And like, the males normally have very colourful feathers, and, you know, they're risking their necks because they're like, hey, look how amazing I am, and I've still survived all this time. I'm good to have babies with, right? And the women are normally, like, the brown ones. You know, like, they're normally the ones with no colour.
Because man has to chase the woman.
I agree.
Now it's like confusing because men, they have so many choices.
Yeah.
And
But like, women, like, so that humans are different from animals, and, like, obviously different animals have different mechanisms for attracting a partner. But, like, what's a human's mechanism for attracting a partner? Like, what do we do? Like, what does a woman seek in a man? And what does she have to, because it's not like one way, it's both ways, right? So she's got to give to receive. So what's she giving the male to, then the male will go, that's the one I want, and then he chases after her.
I think there is so many things, and it's not only one thing, and that's why it's different from everybody.
But let's see if we can, like, nail a few, like, so, like, 3 or 4 reasons that what a woman is giving out for a male to chase her.
What do you mean?
So, like, okay, so she is a...
Because women shouldn't chase.
No, I'm saying the male chases, but the
Yeah.
woman's got to send the signal out in the first place to make the
Yeah,
male go,
but those
okay.
are hormones.
Okay, so hormones?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, but that's
more-
like the pheromones, right?
Yeah, pheromones.
So you smell good. You use perfume to smell good.
Not only that, it's just the body. And I think frequency, energy, you know, all these things. And
But that's like another signal. So like your first signal is like your pheromones and your smell.
That's why I think, you know, those apps and everything works and don't work. You know, like they used to find the person in so many other ways. You know, you can find the person in a train and a bus, or like.
Easier said than done.
Huh?
Easier said than done, that. It's like you look at someone, you're like, oh, I'm attracted to you. And then you don't respond, you know, like, But I think this is where we're like animals again, because it's like, we talked about it before, like dancing. I suck at dancing, but you give me some dubstep or some drum and bass and I can get down dirty, and then you see someone else that like matches your rhythm and they're giving off signals to be like, you know, I'm kind of interested.
Let's start.
Yeah, and to me that's like we always separate ourselves from animals, but like we really are the same. We're just like, our special ability is intellect. Our brains grew faster than our like strength or our claws or whatever.
Yeah, we can do it by dancing, by conversation about topics, by just staying in the same place, for example.
So we got dancing, conversation, pheromones and smells, and what was the other one you said?
I don't know. I think can be friends in common, for example, like having the same group of people, community. They may.
But that's, well, I guess a woman could do that, where she makes friends with the kinds of people she wants to attract as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're attracted to footballers, you need to kind of be in that circle to get their attention in the first place, I guess. The same with art, you know, it's like you want to attract artists or people more creative, you need to put yourself out there in that field. Otherwise, like the apps are one way because you get half the experience, because you're like, oh, I like the look of this person, we seem to have a lot in common, and then you meet up with them, they smile and they got dodgy teeth. Or they, like, I don't know, they act there's a weird ick, you know, there's something that puts you off them, but you don't get that through
I
the
think
app.
it's also the same as you find your friends,
Okay.
you know. And I think we should step a little back right now, because everybody seems like is doing a lot of dating, date this, date that, you know, make yourself out there to find the one.
Yeah.
But instead of, you know, start really quickly on dating and then with 2, 3, 4 dating or a couple of months and then step in a relationship and then break up and all over again, I think we should step into friendship.
Yeah.
Step in friendship, understand each other fully, deeply, stay, you know, support each other in the life, in a normal life. Because behind a person, there is a story. And there is pain, suffer, or good things, you know, interest. There is wishes, dreams, you know, a lot of things create that person.
Yeah.
Not only, oh, you can do this for me. That's why I think a lot of men, they just don't like this kind of vibe of, oh, I have to do something for you quickly, straight away. I'm being used in a way, you know?
Like paying for meals when you go on a date, and the guy is kind of expected to pay. It's
No,
weird.
they have to pay. Sorry, guys. I know.
But don't
it's gonna
apologize.
be
So why do
like
you, no, but why do you think that, you know?
I
agree, by the way.
I think even women, girls, I know you have work, you have the power, but that shouldn't show in this way. I think men has to pay because they put value on you, on the women. So you're going out, you pay for it because this is the value that women take off. And also for women, give the power for the man, you know, be in charge. Because it's a game of both, oh, I'm in charge, but not always. You know, I give you sometimes your charge because we are both in charge. So it's like dancing together on being, like driving this relationship. So sometimes you drive, sometimes I drive. And this has to be healthy, like together.
It almost feels like when you go on a date and they want to split it, because I feel some girls don't want to feel like they owe you. So they don't want to be like, I owe this guy now, so, you know, for whatever reason, like past experience or something. But then as a guy, I guess you feel maybe she's not interested.
Yeah.
You know, because she's like, oh no, let's go halves. It's like, okay, well, I guess because you're not playing the game, you're not like responding like, oh,
And
you buy this one, I'll
everybody-
buy the next one, kind of thing, you know?
And seems like a lot of people that, you know, date and everything, they date other people as well.
Yeah.
You know, they have already 3, 4 dating in the same time.
How does
So-
anyone have this much time?
And money.
And money, yeah. geez.
Like it's so much time and money, and I see lately that they kind of learn what to say,
Yeah.
which question to ask, how to be in the same, like keep the flow going, and they're really good. And as soon as they have the second or the third date, the conversation drop off.
Yeah, because they've run out of their questions. You know, they're
Because
like
they
recycled
don't
questions.
because they don't put themselves out there properly, and they question too much, or maybe the person is not really interested. Maybe they date someone else. You know, I'm not sure. Blah blah blah, and then I want to fuck only. So, what is the purpose in the long run? Because I feel like women are being like start to be very, very angry, and then very feminist. And they label themselves as very feminist, and they're very angry about men not being in charge, not taking responsibilities, blah, blah, blah. But women, you have to take your own responsibility of not giving yourself away.
Yeah.
And then understand that you have to give the person, a male next to you, like moment to be in charge, moment to show themselves, a moment to be vulnerable if you want this kind of person, but also empower them to be more strong, you know, and in a very loving way. And all the women, I think we know how to do it. We just need to step in our heart, because a lot of we see in advertising, movies, and all these things, there is a specific kind of shape that women has to be, otherwise we're not being picked. But I think
Everywhere I look, I go on YouTube, and as soon as you click one video of like some girl dancing or something, my feed is just full of girls dancing, because they know I'm male, they know like I'm of a certain age, so like, you know, and fuck, it's tiring. It's like, come on, let me just look at like some cool motorbike or something. I don't know.
and we don't have, as a woman, we don't have to use our power of, you know,
Well, you lose your power once you start flaunting it, right? Once you're like, you're putting it out there, then you start getting taken advantage
we know
of.
when every woman, girls, like, doesn't really matter how big you are or how color your hair, doesn't matter.
As long as you're
like
healthy.
you're very
As long as you're healthy.
sensual. Like we use our sensuality
Yeah.
and
Sure.
sexuality, and with direction, guy attention, because they're there, you know, they
Oh, yeah.
know. They are very much everything. If you just show a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
just they
We're like the simplest form of animal, I think, really. Like, we're really smart, but then we're also like basic.
logic.
Logic, yeah. But I like, going back to talk about dating and stuff, like, one of the things I like to do is like challenge people. Because like, I like to see people how they are when shit hits the fan. You know, like when, especially like you said about being friends with someone, that's a good way to like, you go on, do an adventure, you go do this, but then when something breaks, like you get a flat tire or something, sometimes I like to like step back from the male role and just like stand there and go, you fix it. And then you can see the panic. You know, they see they're like, oh, what do I do? And I think, like, I get humor out of it because I'm sick, but I think it's really important to see how people manage, because, so say you're someone that's very hands-on, you like to get things done, right? A bit like, that's how I feel about myself. I feel like sometimes I can't be with someone who's as hands-on as me because we're like crashing, you know. So you've got to be with someone that's more, okay, so they're better at, you have to look at yourself, and this is where it's important to start understanding who you are, because if you understand yourself and like your strengths and weaknesses, you can go, okay, so I need someone who is better at this or better at this. And okay, maybe that's me thinking too logically about love and all this stuff, but I think there's got to be some realistic kind of, because it's a partnership. It's not like, you can't just be with anyone, because that's where people become, if you're with someone because they're beautiful, they're like the most beautiful woman you ever met, but like they're useless, you know, they can't, like, I don't cook something or whatever, then you're going to get frustrated. And I think this is where it's important to kind of go through this.
Yeah, this is your perspective.
Yeah.
And likely there is so many different kind of person and types, and it's beautiful that maybe a lot of men, they don't really care about women of cooking, for example. It's not a
Basics.
like something that they want to, because maybe they're good already.
But this is what I'm saying. It's like, if they like cooking, they really love the kitchen. They're the master of the kitchen. You don't want someone that's also, maybe you want someone that's like interested in food,
Yeah.
but maybe you not want someone who else wants to be cooking, because you need someone that's going to enjoy your food, but not be taken over, because it can get annoying, you know, like people are all different. And I think it's important to look wider field, you know, not just like, oh, you've got a good job, you're pretty, like we should give it a go. It's like, okay, you become friends, you see how they are in situations.
And maybe the communication is not there. You know, you see all this
Everything
thing that
ticks all the
matching.
boxes.
Yeah,
and
tick
then-
all the boxes, but still not. They're not flow. It doesn't flow in a good way. So, and even with my friends, I have like different kind of friends, and I'm so grateful, but they come from different field, for example, and doesn't really matter where they come from. Sometimes the connection and the communication flows, and maybe a person like me or whatever, and we come the same field and everything, maybe the communication doesn't flow. And this is the beauty, the magic of going out there and give it a try, but in a respectful way. Because I think, like in the past, religion trying to protect women, you know, putting all these things. Yeah, because now there is so much freedom, and with sexuality especially, and men, they took advantage of going for a date and having a sex quickly, and then start all over again. And we know, as soon as you, as a woman, as soon as you give it away, like give it to somebody, they are not interested on you anymore. You know, they move
If
on.
they're just
like,
going
very
for the
quickly.
bang, you know, if they're just going on a date to shag, then yeah, they've got what they wanted, you know. And if they're looking for someone to be with in life, you know, then they need to put more work in to get to know the person.
And thankfully, there is some men, but not many actually. But especially young.
I don't know. I think young men are lost. I think young men, and even like older men, like I spoke with a guy the other day, and I asked him, I was like, what's happiness to you? He couldn't answer it. And then I asked him about a few other simple questions, and he couldn't grasp the simple things that about himself. And he's like, yeah, and I can't make friends or like meet people. I just want to meet a normal girl or this. And I said, yeah, but you're so confused and lost in who you are. You can't even answer these basic questions. You're not drawing people to you, because people are drawn to people who are like centered. You know, like if you're grounded.
And what is normal for you? Because normality is very complicated. It has a different
I think normal is like the word average. It's boring. Normal is, no one's normal. Everyone's got the weird icks. Everyone's got some kind of strange thing that they do, or like habit or something. Like no one is absolutely square. And if you meet these people, run away, because they're probably serial killers, right? Like seriously.
For me, we should focus, with my art and what I'm doing, I'm trying to focus to heal women, because they are very, very lost. and that's why men are lost as well.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. Is the guy, and he just couldn't attract people. And I've seen him with people, and the way he's kind of unpredictable with stuff. And you don't know if he's going to be angry or if he's going to be like really chill to the point he doesn't give a fuck. And I think it's important for people to get control of their emotions like that.
And women are very good at that because for a very young age, we've been told and teach to look out inside, to feel, to understand, to all the pain, to create something through it. And even intuition, having our period, is a very strong time. The week that we have our period is really we see, I think, has, hormones unbalanced, and we have a very strong reaction, and as a woman we are crazy. But in our craziness, there is a reasons, okay? There is a message inside there. And men staying next to a woman and go through her circles, her process, is healthy for him as well. Is understanding that nothing is really linear, and nothing is really quiet. Not always. Has to be go up. Like sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, sometimes it's going a different direction, but always showing something, and be more, and have more care, loving more, not only the people around you, but love yourself more in those dark times, those dark moments, and how to take care of yourself with a bath, with a good meal, with a good chat. It's something.
Bit of self-love.
Yeah, it is contributing to yourself, but also
Your healing.
with your community. That's why healing the women is important to really, because they love, for a very young age, and we see this. Women are more, kind of a little bit step ahead. And
they mature quicker, right? This is,
yeah.
But even when you're little and at school, my experience was that girls would normally approach the guys first. Well, I see guys, the boys, and the girls would approach the boy and kind of start showing interest and stuff, and the boy's confused because it's like,
I want to build something.
You don't even know. It's like, I want to play with my toys. I don't know what do you want? Oh, get away.
Yeah, I want to throw rocks.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful in a man because young kids, they want to build, they want to break stuff, they play with that power, they physical power. And women, because we have it inside ourselves, we are built to be in service. Like we are built to having a family, having a kids, be there for the community, trying to understand, trying to
bring people together.
So it's that's why we like to be everywhere, to understand, and
amazing organizers. Women.
Yeah, we like chatting and make sure that everybody is talking the truth, even though it's weird or crazy or bad, doesn't matter. Just tell what you think. And I'm kind of like this. I like to know everything about everybody, and if I can help, will be great. But yeah, and also, we are through my mother, my grandma, we are initiate to this. We are initiated every month basically to listen to ourselves and listen to the community, because there is message there, and kind of with nature, we are built to.
You're more in touch with the rhythm of nature as well.
Yeah.
The moon affects you.
Yeah.
And it probably affects everybody, but you really experience that. So I think in many ways, men need to listen more to women when it comes to like kind of the flow of not just emotions, but like family, friends, like
Not only because we are smarter or whatever,
No.
it's just because we are in a state of listening that we have to be quiet and listen and hold on. And we are kind of the nest, okay, the core of the house. And we have to listen to those messages. It's very intuitive. That's why you can't really track how the things really work, how
Yeah.
women are. It's very confusing, and intuition comes from nothing, and it's beautiful like that because it's magical, it's secret, very only, you know, the only like intimate. And if we don't really understand those kind of messages, we are fucked, and we know that. That's why we have to come together and really heal the women, because they are being abused, they are being left behind through, you know, father's problem. You know, they went to war or they had to be at work, and there is a lot of stuff down there that has to be recognized, and women left outside to live their life, not be guided, is not healthy for them. And that's why I think religion trying to hold on to the women, not showing this, not be this, don't, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but as soon as we are in service, and also if we listen to that, we have greatest gifts. You know, we guide properly in a good direction, like something that really, we have some intuition, and it's just that, like we cannot really explain it, how we can kind of predict something is going to happen like months ahead. It's just, we know there is something down within us that is connected with nature, and it's also connected with universe and everything, and it's just happened to be. And that's why women has to be in service to themselves and to the partner in this relationship, and man has to be in service with women, not because she is smarter. No, it's just for a better purpose, for the community, for everybody. Direction of healing properly.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say something?
No. Like,
Sorry.
so talking about that, like, competition within women is women are supposed to be in like this unit. Like, you look at lionesses, right? They stick together. There's the one lion who's doing whatever he's doing, but then there's the lionesses, and they're all looking after each other, and they do all the work, right? And I think with women, you kind of screwing each other over because you're competing so harsh with each other. Like, a guy can walk into a room, unless you're like high level business, other guys should make friends with like the other high level, like the CEOs, the execs and stuff, because you want to kind of work together even if you're competing. But I think women are different in that they are, they'll walk into a situation and the other women are judging. Straight away, they're like assessing, is she a threat? You know, like, you're way more aggressive mentally than men. Like, men, sometimes we have it out and we get angry or whatever, but women mentally way more aggressive, I think. So it's important for you guys to like work together and like kind of get over that competition.
Yeah, I see that very much in Western society. Like, in Morocco, I see women working together. Like my women family that are very much uplifting each other. You know, they put them makeup to each other. They give them advice. Yeah,
Massages.
Yeah, massages or changing dresses. You know, and it's a beautiful care, and we know that we're going through a lot of challenge, especially male mass, because male has to go outside and shooting or go to war or deal with a lot of stuff, and is coming back to how we come back home with this baggage, with this stress. And if the communication is not there, or there is a lot of pain, they beating, you know, the partner, the wife, and even the kids sometimes, you know. So women has to be protected even with other women and be there for each other, because we have to challenge, like we have to heal and be there to heal those, you know, bad stuff that come from outside, from the society, from everything else, and breaking down this like family situation where parents has to be at work both, and they're both stressed, and they lost even the teaching from the past family. So there is a generation with pain, and now we see a lot of new kids that are lost with this knowledge, lost of this healing, lost this with care and love that help them to be strong and go outside and make a good change, you know. And they messing around, they don't understand even if there are male or female, you know. And this confusion is getting even worse and create a lot of mental problem. And that's why we are here to talk, like, especially I feel that in my core that is necessary. Like now is getting globally, but in my story behind, like because I get through a lot of problem, and thankfully I had a foster family that helped me out in my dark moments, and that's why I start this journey of trying to understand and help young women that going through the same things as me. They had, like, you know, parents, they were, you know, father be aggressive mentally, physically.
Well, it's the joke of like daddy issues, right? And I know I say that like, daddy issues, but it's true, and it's really important, because if a woman doesn't have the father figure, how's she gonna know who's a good guy and a bad guy? How's she gonna know if someone she meets is using her or is a really good match, but she's dismissing him because she doesn't know good from bad?
Yeah.
You know, and I think either parent missing in a family, this will happen to them, you know. And even if there's a dominant parent that does most of the work, the kid will end up copying that parent, you know. They'll be more like that. But I think, yeah, this, like, especially, and I know we sort of bring it up a lot, but like Black America, right, where there's a lot of fathers missing in the family units, and then it's just perpetuating the cycle, you know, of this like pain and the inability to heal, because it's very difficult to like diagnose yourself with your own issues and go, okay, like I see I act in this way, or I see that I have a problem with this. Like that's the first step, but then like how do you find the solutions? And I think that's, we'll come back to the points, but I think that's why one of the beauty of the internet is like we do, and we're starting to see all these like father podcasts and things pop up where they're given advice, they're coming together and they're given advice. And we talked earlier about like the men coming back from like war or like just living hard lives, you know, and they take their traumas out on other people. But I think these kind of collectives, I would say, of men coming together to talk about the issues non-judgmentally, and no like taking the piss, no like humor, I find is it helps with healing, but at some point you got to push the humor aside and take things serious to really get to like the issue, and to not just find the solution but move forward together in a way that's going to help heal everybody. And I think this is why you're starting to see men's and women's circles, like we're going backwards in a good way. You know, we're going back to our roots, we're going back to our kind of tribal traditions, and I think
lost a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of knowledge in that, but I think it's it's a necessity to take the step back, come together, and really talk out our like what's going on.
Healing properly, because, for example, I saw some those circles. So the male circles, they playing with each other. It's more like physical. They yell. They have to play with each other in a very physical way, and it's really beautiful. And male circle is more like taking care of in a physical way, like they touching, they dancing together, sometimes naked or whatever, but at least they playing with that sensuality without the purpose of
Competition.
No, without the purpose of sex. You know, like using sensuality and healing that wound that is being abused. Like is being forced to have, being looked at only to have sex. You know, as
or
women
aggressive.
Yeah, in an aggressive way. And I think we had also to heal that space of having sex through anger. Oh, I like to have conversation, like a discussion with my girlfriend, blah, 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 and then we have this make-up sex or whatever.
You mean an argument?
Argument.
Not a discussion, an argument,
An
and
argument.
then the makeup sex.
Yeah. No, because, it can be good for a male, but women, they might say this good, but later on in life, it's not good for women's body, because we hold that energy inside. For men, it's more releasing. It's more like, I give you. So that's why I think we lost that connection, because man is beautiful because they give the love, and women has to receive. And if it's not good, that connection, women subconsciously, they close up. And that's why on the 30s, a lot of women, they are very close. They don't want to have...
Well, they can't orgasm.
They can't orgasm. They can't have this like high connection they should be having. In this period of life, with women has the ability to really reach what all the women in the past wanted to achieve, you know, and it's beautiful, but we have to use this gift of freedom in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, we are fucked, literally.
Oh, it's like it is now, right?
Yeah.
You see a lot of sex. Obviously, our subconscious, we kind of vent our frustrations in sex. So you see kind of like weird sex games, and like, I'm up for trying things, you know, like I'm up for like having fun with it and that. But then some people really, like you say, like the violence within it, because they've got some repressed kind of, and maybe you could say it's healing for them, maybe, but is it like short-term healing, or is it like finding the core issue and finding an answer to that.
It's very powerful sexual energy. And that's why in the past they've been using in a different way, you know, with Tantra. It's like holding that seed and that energy of sexual to create something else. And that's why they've been...
How does this work? Do you just like stop yourself? And you're like, okay, like let's go write a book or something.
Yes, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been used in creativity. That's why in the past there are a lot of beautiful paintings, a lot of beautiful novels, and a lot of beautiful engineering, architecture, because especially male, they have very strong energy, and they have to hold it and don't release it, and this basically go through our your body again and give you power, give you in I don't know how to explain it, is our protein, vitamins that really hold yourself up, and if you use it properly you can really achieve stuff. And it's also money, you know, in a way, and there is a lot of study actually in natural spiritual direction where if you focus on yourself and your image of what you want to become and you're using your sexual energy, you can achieve that kind of manifestation in reality. So instead of having watching porn or release your energy to something that is not connected with you, is like giving your money away, basically. And I think our society has to unlock this more deep.
Just realize it. It's like how much. Some of my friends in the past, like, I remember one guy was like, 6 times a day. Yeah. Wow. Like, it must be pretty sore, right? But
you're dead after the whole day.
All that energy. Imagine if he like consolidated that energy and was like, right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna focus on like, I don't know, making a film or something, or like I'm gonna build something. I'm gonna fix a car or something. I don't know, and just you used all of that energy because afterwards, like when men jizz, when they jizz, the mind, the kind of level in your mind that you're at with your endorphins or whatever is like the release, and then you drop below what you were initially. So if you're feeling depressed or you're not in a good space and then you ejaculate, it lowers to a point below what you're at. So you're going to feel even worse.
That's scary. It's really sad.
So, and if you're doing this on regular, you're going to end up at a really low point. It's like the drug ecstasy. If you do this too many times, you deplete all your reserves, and it takes like 3 months for it to get back to your normal level. So
that's why women has to understand this as well. Like not only male, but women. You have to understand the power that you can have in your relationship to not taking all the time from your partner all that energy, because he will be always ready for you, and you can use your sensuality to give what you want. But because we've been abandoned in the past, or we didn't really receive enough love, we start to having a lot of sex every time to make ourselves be completed, validated, but it's not the right path. We have to understand that the person next to us has energy and purpose to be, to exist in their fullness, and not be in service all the time for you, but in service for the community. That's why now they said, women will save the world. Yes and no. Like, we are together. We have to collaborate and understand that we are kind of in a business state. Like we work together, and if I take all your energy, what you gonna do? Like, how can you support the relationship, your community, your family? You know, everybody needs each other, and your family needs you. And if you be bleeded of this massive energy, how can you create something good for you and for your family?
Yeah.
That's why I think we have to calm down a little bit and use that energy for something else.
Let's talk healing. So for you, well, obviously we've talked about a lot of the issues we've noticed, but let's talk about kind of, we'll talk your personal and my personal kind of experience of like how have we diagnosed that there's some issues.
When did you start to make real change? What happened before that?
I think I realized I was unhappy with the way things were going. I remember waking up one day in London and being like, sort of looking out, and there was a grey sky, and I was just kind of not content. I was chasing something, but I didn't know what I was chasing. And like, I think we go through these periods in our life where sometimes you need something to wake you up or give you a kick in the ass to realize there's something wrong. Mm-hmm. And one of the things for me was, I think when my nan died actually, because she went from this very strong little old lady, very strong in the mind, to not being able to barely respond. I saw her in the hospital, and I remember trying to give her like a straw to give her a drink, and I was like shaking because like I was just like kind of shocked by what I saw, and I tried to put the straw into her mouth and I fucked it up, and I remember she just like sort of slapped it away. I was just I just stopped like this, and obviously she's not really there, so she wasn't doing it out of spite, but she was just stressed by everything. Like she was sweating, she was just in a really bad way. And I remember sort of coming away from there, and for me, like I sort of walked around the corner in the hospital. I was with my little brother. This is probably like 4 years ago, and we walked around the corner, and I just broke down crying essentially. And for me, like my brother was there, my little brother was there, and he gave me this really good hug, and was like, "It's gonna be all right." And I felt almost like weakness that I should be the strong one because I'm older, yet he was the one that was there looking after me. But this, among a few other things, I realized I wasn't happy where I was in my life. Like I had a good job and like things were good, but I was missing something. And that's why I decided to leave and go traveling. Essentially, it's like, right, okay, let's go see some things. Let's put yourself in situations and kind of just see if I can find the piece of the puzzle that was missing.
And start the healing.
Yeah, it started healing. And I remember, like, I got to Australia with COVID and stuff, and then I went and did the farm work. And for me, being away from everybody, being away from the internet, being away from, like, just what I'm used to, being in a situation where you work in, you're doing this like boring job each day, but you get a lot of time to think and a lot of time to like evaluate what's going on. And then in the evenings we'd have a bonfire, and you see these like beautiful sunsets, all these different colors in the sky, and like the flocks of birds would fly over, and it was beautiful. But I'd have loads of time just to sit and read. And I started reading books in like Buddhism and kind of like more like higher level thinking, you know, philosophy, all kinds of stuff. And for me, that I feel like I already took the first step to realize there's a problem, but then I was like, oh wow, I can actually see something here. And I think I was like back in London, I started listening to like Jordan Peterson and a few of these other like kind of like high level academics, because I never used to read either. Like never had the attention to read a book.
But your moments do.
Yeah, my mom loves reading. She's always she's super fast at reading as well. She'll go through like 400-page book in 2 days or something. But for me, I was never like that, and I'm still like a slow reader, and I jump around lots of different books. But I do go through them. But yeah, I think reading a lot in not just self-help, but like I say, philosophy, psychology, like the human experience. What is it, you know?
Yeah, I think we don't really understand, and maybe our society don't pay really good attention to it. But through, like in the past, they went through the same problems as us, and they had a lot of, pathway of healing, of understanding. Like what's going on to you is happening and is still happening to a lot of people, and it's keep going to happen to, new generation. And so that's why I think we have to rebuild this connection through the past, through our families, through that deep knowledge that we are missing. And that's why I think collective sadness, not everybody, but a lot of people. So when there is a lot of people, they feel in the same way, is not an individual problem, is a collective problem. So we have to acknowledge there is something that really need to be healed. So in our society, we are connected with this world. Like, it's not only your personal life or because you feel lonely. Is very, very deep and very, very vast. Like your perception and your sensibility is beyond, and with your subconscious, with your brain, like it's very, very complex. And I think start to like step forward, step out of yourself, and step like talking with your community, start traveling, or you can do it in your small scale, or you can do it in a big scale.
Challenge yourself and stuff.
Start somewhere. I think there is so many way of healing, and I think our society has to focus more in a healing process. And it's not a pill can solve everything, but takes very long time. And women, I think we know that sometimes we just need a couple of days of rest, to properly heal.
Everybody does. Everybody needs some time out to like just process and refocus, essentially.
I think it's more like the compass in yourself. Sometimes run in different direction and you cannot understand where you have to go. And sometimes you have to just to center and to listen to yourself, so your internal compass can show you which direction you have to go. Because it's not stepping in one side or the other. There is, I think, kind of a pendulum that drive in a different direction, and you have to listen to it, because I think something within you can call it soul, you can call it God, you can call it subconscious, whatever, or consciousness, deeper collective consciousness, that trying to show you something. And I think creative people, they know there is something within us or something out there that trying to show us what is the direction, what is the message. And instead of staying in our brain and our thoughts and complaining and, in this circle that really, there is no the way out, if we stay there. We have to go out, we have to talk, we have to release. And there is so many different ways. And it's amazing because nature give us a lot of possibility with herbs, with food, with, you know, psychedelic, if it's used in a certain way. And yeah.
Yeah, my mum is massively into the holistic healing side of things, and like anything that's wrong with you, she's like, yep, you're lacking this, you need this vitamin, this food or whatever. Yeah, she's really good. And like, credit to her, there was a guy who was basically like our adopted granddad, because my mum's dad died when he was pretty young. He was like 60, so I was like 2 years old or something. But yeah, her dad died of a heart attack, and so I kind of feel with this old guy, she adopted him. And like he was like on his deathbed basically, like he had prostate cancer, and like he had no real close family, like no one was going to the home to see him because it's no care home. And my mum was like working there like random, like freelancing or something, and she met him, saw him as a challenge, was like, I want to make you better. But the guy had like really bad prostate cancer, like he didn't have long to live essentially. And my mum did her research and kind of realized, she was like, right, let's try some different foods and see if we can make you feel better. And she ended up making him eat like a handful of blueberries each day. And so he'd do this with his breakfast every day. He'd have some blueberries, and the prostate cancer basically disappeared, and he lived for 14 more years.
Wow.
And I'm not saying it's just the food. Like, I think the companionship, and like she would invite him around our house for Christmas and stuff, and like he was like a granddad basically. And he obviously like he loved that, being around people, but I think with the food, the combination, it gave him another 14 years when he was given like, I don't think it was less than a year to live. So I don't know, I think we talk about ways of healing and stuff. It's the food that you stick in your body. Are you harming yourself by putting so much sugar in your body that you're getting ailments, you're getting illnesses? And I fully believe there is a system in place which encourages us to eat things that are bad for us, to keep us ill, to keep us on the medical system. Because if everyone started eating healthily, like, and looking after each other with the friends and family, you think there would be half the illness, half the cancer, and the stuff we see now? I don't think so. And I think when you're paying attention to everything that goes in your body, and you look at it and you go like, A, is it alive? Am I sticking something that's alive in me, that's giving me its life? Or am I sticking something in me like a chocolate bar or something that has no life to give? There's nothing in that chocolate bar that's going to help you. It's going to become part of you. Like, imagine like the chocolate bar like stuck to your hip or something because it turns into fat. But that is self-harm in a way, you know? And like, I see it with like family and friends and stuff where they're unhappy and they resort to eating food that is bad for them. And I'm not strict with it, like, eat some ice cream once in a while, you know, like treat yourself, whatever. But most of the time, pay attention to what you're sticking in your body, and I think we will live longer. I think, like, I don't know, I think as soon as we start moving to these more like herbal, move the pills away, you know, like the antidepressants, all of this shit that just masks the problem, and we go, okay, well, where did they get the answers for that medicine from? From chemicals that are found in plants, right? From chemicals that are found in food, and they essentially, like, what is the moss, the fungus, the penicillin? Yeah, they found it on like moldy bread, and that basically is one of the reasons why England like won with America's help the war, you know, because they had the ability to heal the soldiers when the Nazis didn't. You know, and that's nature. That's just like some moldy bread. That when we pay attention to these little things, we can learn so much.
Fungi, I think, is a new direction that we should explore more.
Yeah.
And use in daily basis.
Well, we started using reishi and lion's mane. And do you feel any different from that?
I feel more focused. I feel even having like a glass of wine. Like I still very, I don't know, it's like kind of connecting my brain in a very easy, like, I don't know, more focused, more, yeah, it's very, very, not like something that really changed everything, but it's just a little bit of more attention, more, you know, calm state even, yeah. And I know it's hard, and I think also we ended up, you know, drinking a lot, eating not healthy food, smoking, and I think consequences of not really paying attention in the right place and not healing properly, not asking the proper question to your own mother, own father, on your what happened in the past, you know, and you know, trying to move on too quickly for what happened in the past doesn't heal. Doesn't heal. I know. I think it's good to have a view, like trying to create what we need to create, but it's necessary also to focus and trying to move on properly in certain steps of what happened in the past. And personally, I had my own journey, like I don't know, I think my own life has been like insane initiation constantly. And yeah, very young age, my mom, she been abused mentally, physically through my father. He was very violent, and he had his reasons. Not that I'm trying to justify him, but it's just, I think we have to recognize, I think, somebody why he's doing something. And this is also was a healing process for me, to try to understand why he did certain things, to move on to it properly. And yeah, I remember I moved to Modena, Italy, because we were living in a countryside, and we were the first place that we lived was a women's house, call it, was women's house where young women with children, they'd been abused, and the court sent those women there, and nobody know where they are. Like, it's very
so it's
secret
like a safe,
place. Yeah, it's a secret, safe place for women.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, and women together. We were like living. I think we were like 4 mothers with the kid, living all together. We were like sharing, cooking together, and was really interesting to see those women together in hard moment, trying to build something for their future. And
Was there like a hierarchy or anything?
no,
No?
we were like just collaborate and living together. And the other mothers, they become like kind of my mother as well, because my mom, she was most of the time at work.
Ah, so like if some of the moms could be working and the others are looking after the...
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Like, we have nurseries and stuff where you send your kids to, obviously you have, there's 2 teachers or something looking after all your kids, but like, imagine if the moms could do like cycle work. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
And like, okay, say 2 days a week or something, you work, 2 days a week I work, and then we share the kids around.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry, I'm like, that's a really good idea. Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, and my mom, she was working a lot, and after school I was stay at home, and different mothers, they were like different schedule, so they were there in different time, and I remember like taking my finger like, and because I
Stuck in your
was
thumb.
stuck in my thumb because I was very little, and this old, not old, sorry, this African woman, she knew that would be cause like bad teeth.
Yeah.
So she was like slapped me in the face as soon as she saw me with
Wow.
that.
No mercy.
And then I didn't suck my thumb anymore.
But that's in. But that in itself is like another mother could discipline someone else's kid. Did other parents know that she did that? Or was it?
Yeah. My mom, she knew.
Exactly. It's like we've lost this like ability. When you see a kid doing something wrong, you're like, and you judge. You're judging the mom. You're like, oh, she's a bad mom. Instead of going over there and sorting the kid out and making it like, hey, you can't do that or whatever.
Yeah.
We've lost the ability to like have control of our children.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I don't know. That to me all sounds awesome. But carry on, continue your experience. I see. It explains why you're so amazing. Right?
Thank you.
You have several moms. You know, it's gonna do that to you.
That's why I've been initiated in so many ways. You have no idea.
Please elaborate.
And yeah, those journey were beautiful because my mom, I think she was blooming in a way and being like so suffocated for so long, for almost 7 years with my father, and not being expressed in her, because she's beautiful. She always been very beautiful woman, and a lot of men, you know, people been trying to, even in business, like in a business place, put, you
Pressure.
know, pressure, you know, like you keep working with me and I'm gonna, you know,
Give you a raise.
I don't know, I'm gonna touch your ass and you have to shut up because you have a little kid at home and you have to look after her, you know, so you have to shut up and don't say a thing. This is what women has to deal, and especially in a very hard situation. That's why it's like men are so, I don't know, they have so much power, but we need men, we need women.
Each other.
Yeah, we need each other to protect each other.
But just, we will come back to your point, but
Yeah.
for me, that's why it's so frustrating when you get girls that cry wolf, you know, and to get a raise, they'll say, oh, he touched me, or he did this. And I spoke with friends that this has happened to, and luckily nothing's happened to them, and they didn't do anything, you know, and it's women misusing their power, you know, because, you know, and I don't know, to me, that's like, it's such a sadistic kind of way of being, you know. But anyway, let's come back to your.
Explain it a little more, because I think they didn't really get it.
Well, if a girl, you're in an office workspace.
Because what I was explaining was very, very deep and like extreme situation in our society, and I
which
think
affects lots of single mothers.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and
Whereas you get girls that have those kind of troubles, and they will go into a workplace and purposely say someone's harassed them or done something to
they use
be put ahead of
overpower.
them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're misusing their power and they get ahead. Or guys can get fired even if a girl says something and like you understand the boss. Like, okay, so my friend's story is the boss calls him into the office and goes, someone's said you've sexually touched them or something. He goes, the boss looks at him and goes, I know you didn't do it, but we need to have this chat because she's mentioned it to me. And the guy felt anger and like hatred almost because he hadn't done anything. And the boss then turns around and goes, you cannot say anything to the girl. So hang on a sec, like she's come in, said I've done something I haven't done, and now I can't even approach her about it, right? That
like we achieve so much freedom and we are keeping going in a very good space, but yeah, there is
People
a lot.
take
There is
advantage.
also women that overuse that power, that like women collectively finally achieve it, you know. And yeah, and I think if we're not using in the right way, they like our society or
It's so fragile.
they're gonna take it away, you know. So that's why I think we should try to proceed in very true way. And yeah, it's a bit tricky. And
There's always going to be assholes.
Yeah,
Men or women?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, let's go back to you talking about the home. So how long were you there for?
I think I can't remember because I was really young. I was like 4 or 5 years old. But I think we've been there for like 3 years, 2-3 years.
Oh, so a long time.
Yeah.
You get very close with the other mothers?
Yeah. And I think my healing journey, or I don't know, like those beautiful souls start to appear in my life. And I remember, the social worker that she was looking after us were coming and having a dinner or for my birthday. They were making a cake and, you know, being like really supportive for the other women, and especially because they were young, in the 20s, and then most of them, they were coming from different cultures, you know, the immigrants, and they also don't know the language and, you know, a lot of things. And I think those people really has to be recognized properly and really like making a monument for those kind of women and those kind of beautiful souls. They've been in service and doing, you know, things behind the scene. And so the other person that I remember was my teacher in elementary school. She was amazing. So I was the only one from like second generation of immigrant people that moved in Italy and in my class. So in the beginning, I think because I had a lot of problem, and this teacher, she called Maria Rosa, and she was really smart. And I remember spending some afternoon in her home. She was giving me extra lesson, not being paid.
Wow, what a woman.
Yeah, and her house was like crazy about books everywhere, like in the ceiling, like everywhere, literally.
I'm picturing the teacher from Matilda. You know, the nice one.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I remember when I was going to school, a lot of old students were coming and say thank you to her. She was really, really fair and, I don't know, smart.
Yeah.
And she was her call, you know, to become a teacher. And it was beautiful. I remember she had like 2 daughters, and she gave me like dresses because my mom, she couldn't really afford much. And after school, because my mom, she was coming very late at school, to pick me up, she was giving me dresses from her daughters. And just little gesture are a lot, like are beautiful, like necessary. And
so are teachers though. Like teachers, for me, like don't get paid nearly enough because they have one of the most important jobs for the human species, right? You're teaching, you're educating, and I feel like like everyone appreciates a teacher, a good teacher. You know, like you're still talking about her now, right? Everyone remembers a teacher that stood out to them, that put in a little bit extra effort to help them get to where, you know, to go a bit further in a particular direction. but yeah, I think just for me, like the way the government, just anytime there's a cut, it's like teaching, you know, it's like the government never cuts their funding for their programs, but the public servants, the teachers and stuff, they always get cut, to the point it's like, why be a teacher? You know, it's, yeah, you can do something because you love people and you want to teach, but then if it's not going to put a roof over your head and pay for your family, why will you do it? You know, and I think really we've got to like reevaluate our, like what's important, you know, and like for me, teaching is like one of the most important things ever. And like for me, like one day I would like to teach, like lecture or something, but right now I don't want to do it because I make more money doing other things, you know, and it would not make sense to take a massive pay cut for a harder job because it's not easy, you know, like children are, you know, there's lots of personalities and you need to learn.
And my mom was shocked when she done it because she was very hard for her to tell her the amount of pain she went through, and she understood quickly without any explanation, without anything. And I think it is very women intuition, and that's why I think we should focus a little more to heal women, because we need in our community, we very need this care and just a little bit every day. We like to be there for each other. We like to be there for the others. And we know that this will create beautiful things. This is the thing. Like we know in advance, if we just care a little bit more, we all gonna benefit with this abundance of the community, because it's infinite within you. Like if I can help you and somehow just make a cup of tea or something, you're gonna feel better and gonna start the day properly.
So on from the school, how else did you heal?
Okay.
Because that's other people helping you, but like, how did you heal yourself?
I think, yeah, it was a journey, still a journey, and never really end. But there were a lot of people in my life that appear. And my foster family, I think they were the biggest part of my life, the healers.
Like, how are they special? Because if anything, they were pretty normal. You know, they were like the father, the mother, the kids, a house, probably a dog, right? Just a normal family unit.
They were like being themselves. And this is why I think a lot of conflict start to appear in me, because I think as foster kids, they struggle, or they might be violent, or misunderstanding are like insane, because they have inside so much pain, and then they see outside everything is perfect, but it's not perfect inside yourself. How can you
manage? Feels unfair, I imagine.
I felt for many years living those two realities in one, like going inside, like visit my mom in the hospital where she was like laying down, taking pill, not really understand where she is, who is looking at, like, and I was like, do you recognize me? Do you need help? I was helping her go into the bathroom, change. She couldn't really, those heavy situation. And then as soon as I walked outside, I was crying without even think I have to cry. It was just, okay. And then having a dinner with my beautiful foster family where everything is perfect and you're just angry. Why is not perfect even in that side? You know what I'm saying? And it's just, and they kind of, and I was holding this. I knew wasn't fair for them to receive that. So I start to hold in these things, and thankfully my second mom, she was like asking me a lot of questions. We spent so many hours talking, me crying, and then she told me, oh, you should do theater, you should singing, you should dancing, you should do sport. So I start to this journey of releasing a lot of energy, and I was doing a lot of things, and that's why I think my energy of anger and not completely understood, created this process of creating something else. So instead of
being angry,
being
you
angry
vented.
and fighting with myself or who I am and these kind of things, I start to create who I am and start to recognize create something that basically not really exists, or in my view, I didn't see at the time to really get close to it. So for me, it was like a new age, a new things. So I had to create something that I wasn't not even Moroccan and not even Italian, not completely, was a mix of things. And I think art helped me a lot, create this space of expressing those feelings that words can't really reach. I was writing poems because it was free. You know, I can use words and create something that is not linear. Because my life wasn't linear, you know, and I had to express that. I have to release that chaos, and things start to appear, start to showing up in a beautiful way, and I start to have hope, you know. I start to see the light through that darkness, and start to study even more what, you know, the brain works, how my mom, she's like this, why my father done this, why the society, why my country, or, you know, why we do things in a certain way, and questioning everything was insane.
Yeah, it's complex, eh?
But it's beautiful, and yeah, even though it was intense and dark times were there, but as soon as I just felt I had to go through that journey, and yeah, I had like a period where I had to stay away from friends, and you know, I was really, really sensitive, and I just needed to unlock deeply. And yeah, what about you?
Doing stuff, I thought, like, just learning to understand yourself, I think, is the key for me. Is like,
Do you want to share more about your background?
Not particularly, but I think, understanding yourself. Like you say, you picked up the drama, the different activities and stuff, and you put yourself out there in a way that was challenging, but you learned a lot about yourself, I imagine. And for me, it's the same. It's like I tried different things some things I liked, some things I didn't like, some things I was good at, some things I sucked at and I still suck at certain things, but it's just exploring yourself. And I think, again, like, if you get past the confusion of who you are and you start defining your character, then everything starts making sense.
I realized subconsciously I was seeking that father figure or mother figure that wasn't there. And even before my foster family, I was like very, very, I was seeking this knowledge that I didn't receive properly. You know, those teacher, I feel like she was kind of another mother, you know, and even men and, you know, in a different kind of relationship and trying to understand what is the knowledge that I was missing and trying to really, heal and understand what is the real truth, you know?
The true.
The true. That is not in my mind only, because I was trying to get out of my mind because everything was like, in the circles.
I think happiness is something that people seek, but if you're happy within yourself, any situation you're in, you'll be happy. You know, it doesn't matter where you are, who you're with, you can find the happiness because it's in you. You know, and I think that is something we need to stop chasing and start kind of like looking inwards.
Yeah,
basically.
the peace was very much what I was seeking. I wasn't relaxed. I was very like doing a lot of things and trying to understand,
Distracting yourself.
talking with everybody, why I'm not happy. I was like in this state of like, why I'm not happy, and I see my foster family.
But that's
they're
also
happy.
comparison, right?
You know?
You're comparing there, and
Yeah.
for me, that's one of the things that kills a lot of people's happiness is that comparison of like, they've got this or they've done that. Like, why is my thing not as good as theirs? Or, you know, it's like, if you can get rid of the comparison, and it's like, it's one of those things in life that you'll go through the whole of your life and it's going to be a battle forever because some things, it's just part of life, you know, it's like, it's, you know, you find your balance. Sometimes you go too far that way, and you will always compare yourself, but catch yourself when you do it because it's not helping you.
And also uniqueness, you know, we have to find, I think, a strategy to create, to really show the uniqueness of a person.
Yeah,
And
the weirdness.
I feel like I was, you know, color my hair, I was dressed in a certain way, and wasn't really, I was trying everything, basically.
Because
I was
you're adding stuff. You know, it's like there's you,
Yeah.
and then you're adding different colors of hair or clothes, or, you know, you try different personalities, I guess, or whatever. But
that's why younger people
yeah, they're
struggle.
experimenting, you know, and it's a natural process that as humans we need to go through this, but your uniqueness is you. You know,
It takes time.
look at yourself naked in the mirror and look at yourself until you're happy with yourself, you know, and a lot of people, like, you hear of stories where people take magic mushrooms for the first time and they look at themselves in the mirror and they're like, damn, I look pretty good, you know? Because for me, it takes off the kind of judgment in many ways, you know, and you're looking at yourself as a being, you know, and I think you need to look at your flaws in that sort of environment and look at them until you find something beautiful about them, you know, or like you say about gratitude, you know, find gratitude in something. And we need to shift our whole perspective of like hanging on to the negative kind of, oh, this makes me unhappy, this comparison, you know, like, oh, they did this better or whatever. Like, let go of this bad energy, basically. Even the people you're hanging around with, if you're with someone who's bringing you down always, so I'm sure I've talked about this before, but if you're around that kind of negative energy, it's not good for you. You know, you're not gonna grow, you're not gonna heal. You need to, but on that, you know, when you are healing and in the process, you will draw people to you that are, you know, they're not just seeking you because you're in a good place.
I think like pain, suffering is life initiations, because Plato and, you know, we see in different direction of psychology where you keep talking, or like you talk about your stuff and what problems, and a person did this and did that, and you kind of start to unconsciously like this state of victimism, you know, a state of, you know, if I tell you that this happened to my past, you give me your attention. You know, oh, this is really bad, this is really bad.
I suffered the most.
Now I suffered the most, instead of really chase of what makes you really alive, instead of seeking other people attention and energy.
But also, like, the people that get over the suffering are normally better people for it. You know, it's like a challenge maybe someone else hasn't faced that's put you ahead in many ways, because, you know, you've dealt with something hard. And anytime we're faced with challenges and we come out successfully, you know, come out the other side, you're always better off because of it, you know?
I think something within me, you want to call it soul or whatever, knew there was something more, something more unique, more strong, that can be infinite, those infinite energy, instead of, I don't know, always my reaction and on things is quiet. Like, I'm not reacting, I'm watching and listening. And in a very young age, I used to, as I said before, I used to stay in silence. And a lot of people thought that I was introvert, but I wasn't. I just dealing with my own thing, but I was absorbing.
Yeah.
And then when I found, I think, the key of releasing and showing who I really am, I start to become very extrovert.
Yeah, I feel that as well. I think the more I leaned into who I am and not try and hide it, not try and kind of be different or to fit in with certain groups of people, the more I acted how I wanted to act and speak about the things I wanted to speak about and stuff, like, my friend circle's grown, you know, and I'm happier. You know, this is the other thing, is I see it with my mom, where she's a people pleaser. You know, she's always trying to, like, please.
She's also
everybody.
a nurse.
Yeah, she's a carer, but she's pleasing people too much that she's not looking after herself, you know. And I think, you know, she's trying. She has, like, all these thoughts when someone comes to the house, and she's like, oh, you know, I have to act a certain way or be a certain thing, because she's, like, convinced herself that's how she should be. And I said to her, I was like, the longer you go through your life without truly being who you are, you know, you're gonna be unhappy. You're gonna live with regret. You're going to, I don't know, probably die younger as well, you know, because you're unhappy. And that is such an important thing in life, is to be content in who you are. And
And that's why a lot of doctors start to share different way of healing as well, because a lot of people go to the doctor and the doctor said, oh, you don't have enough time to live anymore, and the patient, they start doing something they never done before,
Yeah.
and they heal
Well,
miraculously.
Alec, my adopted granddad, same thing. You know, he got like another 14 years. So for me, that's enough testament to like, don't always listen to what the doctor says.
And also, it's really important to listen to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, there is something within us that they love us unconditionally. There is something in our body, in the subconscious, something that love unconditionally, that will do anything we say in our thoughts, will want to do. You know, so if you truly believe that you're gonna die, you're gonna die. Your body is creating that that kind of perspection, that kind of feeling that you don't love yourself enough. And sometimes it's not only start with you, it's something that you have from your lineage, from your family. That's something happened in the past, and you're just the result. That's why it's necessary to track what happened and really face it, heal, and move on.
Yeah.
And yeah, a few friends of mine, I trying to tell them to love themselves and be grateful for what they have. And I think, yeah, when I was a teenager, I think I was looking to friends or, you know, my foster's brothers and sisters, they had everything they want. And because what I come from, I didn't have enough. And I was like, I think there is something that I can do to have what everybody else have.
Yeah. Let's end on a story. I have a little story where there was, I think it was an Aussie guy. His dad was really ill, like mentally ill, felt he was going to die. You know, he went to the doctors. Doctors like, yeah, you've not got long to live. And so his son ended up going traveling and found a stick and went to a monk and said, got the stick blessed. And he went back to his dad and said, this stick I paid $500 for to be blessed by a monk. And he said it's going to give you good health. And the dad took the stick and basically lived happily ever after for like another 10 years, right? And it was all bullshit. The kid never paid any money for the stick. It was a random stick he found on the side of the road. But he told his dad that this is what happened, right? But the dad lived happily ever after,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like,
There is so much power underneath. So much power, guys. So much power underneath.
well, I really enjoyed this. This has been a good episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well.
Thank you for watching and keep following us.
Give
And
us a
share it,
subscribe. Share, yeah, please. Like, I feel like this is knowledge we're sharing because like we're enjoying it, but it's also like we want to help make the world a better place. You know, so for us, even if you take a little thing out of this video, like, and it's made your day or life better, that's
We
our
are
goal.
very grateful
Yeah.
for this.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Next time.
you.
Brilliant. I recommend it.